What have you learned about yourself since you took the job?
I think what I've learned more than anything is just that I belong here. I think that's what I would say, is that I think in this job, you're always searching for the right people and the right connections. And, I had a wonderful time in Red Bull, but I realized what was funny to me is that after all the years of Red Bull and what I learned and what I invested, that when I made the step to Leipzig, it wasn't the right place for me. And I kind of knew it already, but to think that, I love the company so much and the clubs so much that it just made sense to go to Leipzig as the manager, but I kind of knew it wasn't right. And then I knew when I left Leipzig that the most important thing was I didn't care if it was the Prem or I didn't come here because of the Prem. I came here because I felt like Leeds was the right place for me and it had the right people and it was the right connection.
Jesse, one player that you brought in this summer is Tyler Adams. But when he spoke to us earlier, he said that before he joined Leeds, he had a very forthright conversation with you, more so about his form last season at Leipzig. How did that all go for you?
I've always believed in him, always. But I've also known that he's had challenges, big challenges. And it's not just about playing or not. It's about how an environment works and how people interact. And there's some environments that bring out the best in people, and there's some environments that bring out the worst in people. And without going too in depth into Leipzig, it's not the easiest place, I think, to live as a free person, as a person who wants to express himself within a team environment. That was always a bit of a challenge. And so I think it wore on Tyler. And I knew that, and I saw that. And I challenged him while I was there to change, and I challenged him to be a leader. But I think maybe the challenge was, given the situation, too difficult for a man of his age and what he had already been through to carry out.
What about your hopes for the season?
In Germany, I knew we had a really good team at Leipzig, and I wanted to talk about winning the title because I thought it was important that the club get over its insecurities. But it didn't mix well. The Germans do not like to talk about this. Here, we're not in position to talk about winning the title. Clearly not. So I focus so much more on the daily work, and that's what I really want to see is just a team that is clear and progresses and is so strong, continuing to be so strong with the mentality and the belief system that we have, but adding more and more football sophistication to make us to help us control matches even against the best opponents more and more and more. So that's maybe my goal is more about what we want games to look like. How much can we control matches and control opponents versus where are we going to end in the table? But I'm confident that we won't be in the position we were in last year.
Just wanted to pick up something that we heard there, Arne, from Jesse Marsch, saying that he didn't feel as though he could express himself in Germany at Leipzig. What are your thoughts on what he said there and how he explained it?
I was quite surprised to hear that, actually. Obviously, every club, every country is different. Sometimes, culture is also very important for everyone, for a coach and also for a player. But those words, they were pretty open and honest, and he definitely made his mind up on Leipzig and his time there. He said as well that he knew it before it would be not the right fit, but nevertheless, because he loved the organization so much, he took the job. So probably he should have decided differently before. So to me, Leipzig is a big club. Obviously, it's not Bayern Munich, but they have expectations, and they work very well the last 10 years. They are right now our second or third best team in the league, and they have expectations for sure. But I wouldn't agree that you cannot express yourself there.
Stevie, what do you think of Jesse Marsch talking about this? Do you think it's good that he's very transparent like this, or does he not need to do this?
I'm still not sure what he was saying. I mean, how do you decipher what... All the things he just said there, I'm still trying to figure them out. He shouldn't have gone to Leipzig, but then he's saying that they should win the league. It doesn't correlate. I mean, the player himself goes to Leipzig, a team that are expected to challenge Bayern, but he can't hack it. Is that what he said?
Or he can say, we want to win this, but maybe he felt that he wasn't allowed to say, we want to win this, we should be going to win this.
I don't mean that. I'm moving on to the player. He's talking about the player now.
Right.
You know, as I said, you can't say it before you go, I've taken the wrong job, and then start telling everybody you're going to win the league. That doesn't make any sense. And Tyler Adams, you know, he's saying he couldn't express himself in that team, but it's a team that's supposed to be fighting against Bayern. So is being in a team that's not expected to do anything better for Tyler Adams? I don't understand what he was saying, is what I'm getting at. Well, I'm not sure where everyone was coming from. You could look at it so many different ways.
I'll decipher the I couldn't express myself in Germany is translated to I couldn't get the results at RB Leipzig to keep myself in a job and keep everybody happy. That's the roundabout way he's trying to say he couldn't express himself. The bottom line is that he just couldn't get results. Now, they did sell some of their key players like Timo Werner and Upamecano, but, you know, he went in there and it didn't happen for him. Now, he goes into Leeds off the back of Bielsa getting sacked. They've sold the two best players this summer in Phillips and Rafinha. But he has brought some players in like Adams, Aronson and others that he knows a little bit better. And ultimately, if he keeps them up this year again, he'll have done a more than decent job. And that's why I think he was kind of reticent to tell Tom what his expectations are, because it is such a tough season. And there are going to be probably at least 6, maybe 7 teams that are battling to stay in the Premier League. One of them they played last week, Southampton. They were 2-0 up, and Southampton come back to make it 2-2. They're also a team under Ralph Hasenhüttl that are just not signing any decent players. So I think he knows if he keeps them up in the Premier League this year, I think most people would deem that as a pretty good job.